Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be doing a scenario on self-storage construction here at Integrity Capital. So I'm actually going to be calling Tom, who is going to be the loan associate in this scenario, and I'm going to be requesting financing for a self-storage construction project. So I'm going to start calling Tom.
Hi, this is Tom Hartue with Integrity Capital.
Hi, Tom. My name is Sylvester. I'm calling because one of my good friends requested I reach out to you because I'm developing a self-storage facility and looking for someone who can assist me with financing. Are you experienced in financing self-storage projects?
Yeah, that is definitely something we can assist you with. Can you tell me a little bit about your project? Do you have a firm budget on it for the development?
Yeah, we're planning a 61,000 square foot facility with around 425 units. The budget is about 2.75 million.
Great. So does that budget include the cost of the land also?
No, we already own the land. We purchased it earlier this year for 300,000 with cash.
That's great. That 300,000 should be included in the budget as we discuss financing, as it would go towards your equity injection on the project. Tell me a bit about your long-term plans on the project with the facility. Will you be managing the site, and how long do you intend on keeping it?
Yeah, the facility will be the same city as me. It'll be located where I'm at. I plan on running the site, but may hire a site manager once it's stabilized. My partner and I plan on holding onto the property for at least 5 years.
Okay. So it sounds like with where it's set up right now, you've got 300,000 into the property already. You're planning on keeping it for at least 5 years. There's some options to finance that with the SBA. You would need to bring in much more in the way of cash down. And they're kind of geared up for somebody who's looking to own a property and manage it and run it and hold on to it for some time. If you want to go conventional, that's another option, a little less paperwork, but you're going to need to be coming in with probably around, say, 35% of the equity into the project. So I'm not sure if that's something that would be in the cards for you, or kind of generally if you're looking to keep that equity injection around that 10 to 15% mark.
Yeah, I think that might not be a bad option actually. I like, having the cash in my pocket just in case if I need it.
Sure.
For the listener, so now we're going to go into the construction and development questions as we just went through the intro.
So when you purchased the property, did you have an appraisal or any other reports done on the property at that time?
Yeah, we did have a land appraisal completed before we purchased the land, but we did not have any other reports completed until after the purchase.
Okay, well, the appraisal will be good information to provide to the lenders. What reports have you completed on the property since the purchase?
Well, we had a survey completed for the property for the site plan work.
That'll be necessary for the lenders also. Have you had any sort of environmental inspection completed, such as a phase one?
Nope, the land is vacant.
Well, even with vacant land, there could be potential for environmental issues, although it is much less likely for something to be there. The reports can be required by lenders, or they may choose to do something online, like a web-based report. That's something we can find out as we get further into the process, but just be aware that's might be an expense you're going to have to cover. That's something we'll address later, though.
Okay, I'll look into that, but I don't see a need to order it now.
No, not at this time. Can you tell me where you're at in the project as far as planning? Is it shovel ready or still early planning phases?
So we're working with a civil engineer and have site plans. We do not have any permits at this time.
Is the property zoned correctly for storage? Do you see any issue with getting the permits approved?
Yes, it's already zoned for storage. I've had preliminary discussions with the city and they like the idea of storage facility development there. We have not submitted our plans for review though.
Having plans reviewed with the city will be important. Most lenders will want to see the first plan reviewed back before they're able to approve the loan, and permits will definitely need to be in hand for funding before starting construction.
I understand. We'll be working on that and hope to have plans submitted in the next 2 weeks.
Okay. And how firm is your project budget at this point? Are you working with hard bids or just some soft quotes?
We have a quote on the site work. The steel buildings and other hard costs are just estimates though.
Okay, those are going to be main parts of the budget. So we'll want to have quotes on steel before we're going too far. It'll be critical for the appraiser also to have an accurate budget. They're going to be working with, are you going to be working with the GC on this project?
Yes, the buildings will most likely be prefab steel. One of the suppliers you're working with does also work as a GC.
Great. Do you have any past projects they've worked on, or can you request a resume for them?
They did provide some details on the past projects. I can send that to you. All right, so for the listener, now we're going to move into the liquidity and net worth conversation.
Okay, so what's your cash liquidity situation after the land purchase?
I have around 85,000 set aside for this project. My partner has 110,000.
Great. It sounds like you have the funds set aside for the project, but do you have any liquidity beyond that?
Well, yes, I have around $300,000 in investment accounts, but I would like to avoid using that.
That's understandable. And on a high level, you have sufficient equity in the project to get it done through the SBA loan. However, it will be important to disclose your full liquidity. Lenders will want to know your overall liquidity and your net worth.
I understand, but I don't know my net worth.
Well, after our call, I can send you a form that will assist with that. It's a personal financial statement form, and you're going to need your partner to complete it also. It's going to include your personal assets and debts, and it'll give an idea of your net worth. It will also be an important form for reviewing your financing.
Sure, I can complete that for you. So for the listener, now we're going to move into the discussing details about the property's location.
So can you tell me a little bit about the property location and what made you choose that site for your storage development?
Seems a lot like of the storage facilities in the area are full. There was a new 250 unit facility built in March of last year, and it was all filled by the middle of fall. That property was closer in town, but our location is right on the highway and has more traffic.
Great. Have you had a feasibility study completed for the location?
Yes, we had that complete prior to the purchase. It was a feasibility desk review.
That should be sufficient for the lender. As you didn't have your site plans completed when the feasibility was completed, has the project size changed from that time?
Nope, we started the initial project with 425 units. As we know, there will be sufficient space on land with room for future expansion.
Great. Just make sure you provide that to me after our call.
Great. So for the listener, now we're going to move into the cash flow conversation.
So as far as the project goes, have you put together any projections or forma for the cash flow on the property?
Yes, I have some numbers on how the property will cash flow once it's stabilized.
Well, can you walk me through the process you used to determine the cash flow?
Yes, my partner and I called some of the local storage facilities and did some research. Some of the newer facilities had rates online. We based our rates mostly from the newer facilities.
Great. Sounds like you've done some research. If you have any of that information, it would be good to include in the file along with your cash flow. The lenders will want to see a monthly breakdown on the cash flow, also to show ramp up. Do you have that?
No, we just have our estimate of annual income once it's occupied.
Well, it's a good starting point, but the lenders will want to see a monthly breakdown. So essentially, it will be a monthly profit and loss from the time the construction starts through year 2 of the project. The initial months won't show any income. You'll basically be in the construction phase at that time. The lender will want to see how long it takes from the start of construction until the project breaks even on the cash flow.
I understand. I'll work with getting those details together. So now we're going to move into the urgency factor.
From our earlier conversation, you mentioned that you bought the land cash. Just to confirm, there's no bridge loan or to be refinanced on the property. Is that correct?
That is correct. My partner and I each sold a rental property and went 50-50 on the land.
Great. That means we don't have a balloon payment. There's no need to be concerned about. What's your timeline to start construction?
We had hoped to be further along now, actually. With civil engineers being so busy, it has set us back about 45 days.
Yeah, there's a lot of construction going on recently. I've seen several projects being delayed.
Yes, we had hoped to be able to put down deposits on steel at this point, as we know that will cause delays also. We can't do that until we have our plans in hand and have a hard budget. So for the listener, now we're going to move into the credit.
So what is your credit history like?
It's perfect. My FICO is over 700.
Well, that'll be important, but lenders will also want to know about your past credit events. So things such as deed in lieu, short sales, foreclosures, bankruptcies, or any late payments.
No, nothing like that in the last 7 years. That's how long it would report on my credit for. So, or is it 10 years?
Well, it sounds like you might have had some past credit issues that even if it's greater than 7 years ago, it may show on your credit, but it may not show on your credit, but it'll show on additional reports run by lenders. Are there any past issues on your credit?
I did go through with a short sale after the bank started foreclosures on one of my investment homes in 2009.
I'm sorry to hear that. I appreciate you disclosing it. It shouldn't pose a problem with the loan request, but it'll be good to have a letter of explanation and file as to what happened.
Yes, I've had to prepare a similar letter before when buying a house. I can send that to you.
Great. And how about your business partner? Are you familiar with their credit history?
No, I'm not.
Okay, well, that's good. Questions I'm going to have to ask them specifically then another time.
Now for the listener, we're going to move into the credibility part.
So is this going to be your first storage development project?
Yes, it'll be my first storage development project. However, I was involved in a small warehouse development several years ago.
Okay, so will you be using a GC on the project then?
Yes, I know that's going to be an additional expense, but I wouldn't want to take this on without a GC.
Great. Do you have any experience operating a self-storage facility, or do you plan on having management assist you?
I have experience with the rental properties, but storage rentals. However, my partner managed a property for several years.
Okay, that's good. We'll need to make sure that we have a resume detailing your experience in development and your partner's experience in self-storage management.
Okay, we can do that. Now for the listener, how are we compensated?
So are you familiar with how we're compensated?
I'm not.
Well, we charge a success fee of 1%. So with a minimum fee of $10,000, your loan, roughly we'd be looking at about $27,000 on the fee. If we're able to get it approved. We'll walk you through the whole process and be your consultant along the way. Our role is to best represent you to assure you have a proactive experience. We're typically paid at closing through escrow. However, with a SBA loan, normally we're paid outside of escrow. This will be paid, and it's not built into the loan. It's something that's going to be paid out of your pocket.
Okay, that seems high. Why should I do this?
Well, I completely understand where you're coming from. The reason people go with us are for the following reasons. We're extremely proactive, walking you through all the nuances and ensuring we solve issues. We have access to capital sources that are extremely competitive and benefit your needs, and we're responsive and share your best interest.
Okay, that makes sense. Now for the listener, now we're going to move into recourse versus non-recourse.
Are you aware that with an SBA loan that you're going to be having to sign a personal guarantee?
No, please explain.
Well, when you sign a personal guarantee, you are giving the lender the right to pursue you if your loan ever defaults. Typically, anyone with 12% or more ownership in the business will have to sign. This includes any and all spouses unless you have prenuptial agreements or they sign spousal waiver documents. Let's say that you default on your loan. The first course of action the lender is going to pursue is to work out and getting it back on track. If that doesn't work, they're going to pursue legal action and foreclosing on the building or asset. If the lender is successful in foreclosing on the asset, then they will begin liquidation. If the proceeds from liquidation pays off their loan, then they will not pursue recourse. However, if there is a balance after paying off the liquidation amount, then they will pursue you personally for the loan amount that is left to be paid off. So it will become a judgment and show up on your credit. Furthermore, it's important to note that unless you have a prenuptial agreement or a waiver, your spouse will be signing.
Okay, that makes sense. Now for the listener, we're going to move into vetting out client loyalty.
So have you had an opportunity to discuss your financing with any other lenders?
I did talk to my local bank when we purchased the land. I filled out an application, had a conversation with the branch manager, but those jerks just wasted my time. They called me 3 weeks later and told me they don't finance any construction loans.
That's frustrating. Did they offer you any solution on how to get it financed?
They'd offered to refer me to another lender, but I haven't heard from them.
Okay, well, we'll certainly keep you updated through the process if you choose to work with us. We're going to ask for the opportunity to represent you exclusively during the process, though, and hopefully you won't be working with that other lender.
I'm okay with that as long as you can find a lender who can get it done.
Yep, sounds good.
So for the listener, we're going to move into setting appropriate expectations. I'd like to see if I can avoid having to go through the SBA to have this done. I heard they can take a really long time.
Well, realistically, you need to be coming in with a lot more to get this done without the SBA. Most lenders will only go up to around 70% loan to cost on a storage construction project.
I see. I can't do that. Is there some way we can speed up the SBA process?
Well, our process is designed to streamline the loan and keep things moving smoothly. However, SBA loan will probably take 60 to 90 days.
I understand. That's not long as I expected. I was under the impression that it would be like 6 months.
Well, it can. However, that's why we use our proactive process to keep our clients and our lenders moving through the loan process expeditiously as possible. However, that does mean that we need you to provide documents quickly when requested, and you stay in communication with our processor. That's who will be driving the process.
Got it. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time to connect with me today. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and send you an email with a list of items that we need for next steps. And we can start looking for financing options from there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.